Holland to America, became landlords where none had been before. Soon one man owned 500,000 acres on both sides of the Hudson River shore. He invited families to move in and give him 30% of everything they grew every year. This is how they pay the rent. His name was Van Rensselaer. He became one of the richest men on earth. In today's terms, $90 billion is how much he'd be worth. All this for doing nothing, but saying all of this was his. I have the power of the state behind me, and I'm in the landlord biz. After 200 years of this and one revolution won, another Van Rensselaer had another son. And this Rensselaer was greedier than his ancestors, dead and past. It was the 1840s and things were changing fast. It was the straw that broke the back. The bottle was uncorked. They started organizing meetings, the tenant farmers of New York. They found the strength of numbers. They found the power of suggestion. They found each other asking the same question. Who gave you the right to be a landlord? To live a life of ease while others toil? Who gave you the right to be a rich man while the rest of us pay so we can work this soil? They vowed they would stop the rent collection. They vowed they'd bring this madness to an end. And when one blew the tin horn of distress, he soon found he had 1,000 friends in calico skirts with masks upon their faces, armed with horses and guns. They chanted and they yelled, they kept their farms and they kept the sheriffs on the run. They asked, who gave you the right to be a landlord? To live a life of ease while others toil? Who gave you the right to be a rich man while the rest of us pay so we can work this soil? The governor's militias tried to stop them, but nothing could be done to break their will. And by 1848, the landlords buckled, sold their holdings to the farmers in the hills. Yes, they overthrew this feudal system, but it's replaced now by speculators and banks. And you can still hear the homeless families asking of all the landed gentry in our ranks, who gave you the right to be a landlord? To live a life of ease while others toil? Who gave you the right to be a rich man while the rest of us pay so we can work this soil? Who gave you the right to be a landlord? To live a life of ease while others toil? Who gave you the right to be a rich man while the rest of us pay so we can work this soil? Who gave you the right? I was in Belgium last June, and this was what was in the news at the time. The country was invaded and destroyed. Then they had a baby boy. They sold everything they owned so they might escape the war zone. Took the Baltic route, north and west. It was the one the smugglers said was best. They got as far as Germany, which is where they had another baby. It's a deadly thing, what some call immigration. England was their final destination. In a crowded van, driving to the port on past Flanders fields, another life cut short. Cops on every side, the vehicle surrounded. When the loud crack sounded, Mama held her daughter tight in place. Then she saw the bullet hit her face. Mauda was her name. Mauda was her name. There are many ways to stop a van, many ways to do it. They can make a roadblock for one. If you're under fire, you can use your gun, but all the bullets flew in one direction. At first they denied it, but at closer inspection, the cop was aiming for the driver's head. But he missed and hit the girl instead. Mauda was her name. Mauda was her name. If the driver had been hit, how many more numbers would be added to the score of those who only wanted to raise a family, but then died on the shores of Turkey, or somewhere in the desert, or tortured in a prison, or on the bottom of the ocean, at a Baghdad checkpoint, or at a traffic stop, or shot down by a Belgian cop. Mauda was her name. Mauda was her name. Thank you. Let's see here. What's that? You got it? Haven't done that in a long time. But that was such a wonderful time singing that song in Ottawa at that church. Wonderful. 20 Syrian women all singing along with that song. It was completely unexpected and wonderful. I wasn't sure they'd even like the song. Okay, let's see. Here's what we'll do. I think the most important thing that we need to understand historically and currently about fascism is that it is delivered to us by neoliberalism. They will hand you fascism on a silver platter, just like the Social Democrats did in Germany in 1933. They'll do that here, they'll do that everywhere. Obama handed us Trump, and now we got Salvini. You know, we vote for fascists when income declines. That tends to be, you either vote for the left or the right, you know, when your income is declining, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of countries don't have a left, you know, like that's like in office, you know, like the United States. I'm introducing a song about the United States, Larry. I'm from the United States. And this is a song about the United States, about a man who ran the country for 8 years. I turned on my TV, though it was hard to see these men who would be head of state. What a great country from sea to shining sea. We watched the Republicans debate. Newt stood with his third wife and said, "You bet your life the president is a red." wants to tax the rich a lot, take your limo and your yacht. He wants to have the bankers' heads. And if he gets in again, he'll paint the White House pink, and then he'll hire Chavez as his VP. Then we'll be right on track to give capitalism the sack, along with the insurance industry. If only it were true, if only it were true, I'd be so happy, wouldn't you? If only it were true, if only it were true, if only it were true. He'll give everyone food stamps and wheelchair ramps. He'll subsidize windmills and maple syrup. He'll cripple industries with eco-friendly policies, and pretty soon we will be just like Europe. He'll shut down oil wells and give out solar cells to every home in Delaware and Illinois. He'll ban logging in the parks. He'll send the works of Karl Marx to the homes of every American girl and boy. He'll abolish pesticides. He'll be giving out free rides and free lunches too in his high-speed trains. He'll start lots of public works full of union perks. He'll fill all the cities up with bicycle lanes. If only it were true, if only it were true, I'd be so happy, wouldn't you? If only it were true, if only it were true, if only it were true. Watch out, his critics tell. This shall be our death knell. He'll pull the troops out and end all of our wars. He'll gut military spending. Our empire will be ending, and soon we'll be invaded by the Moors. He'll legalize all drugs, give away beer mugs and hookahs to every child, and Korans. He'll ban religions from the schools, give 40 acres and a mule to every person who makes less than 50 grand. He'll close Guantanamo. To torture he'll say no. He'll make us all drive electric cars. He'll reinstate the fairness doctrine, take off that damn flag pin, and he'll put Rupert Murdoch behind bars. If only it were true, if only it were true, I'd be so happy, wouldn't you? If only it were true, if only it were true, if only it were true. Thank you. Well, Mexico abolished slavery, and then the United States invaded Mexico. And these two facts are very, very much related. And there were some folks who came from Ireland who had been more or less in a similar condition over there. And they saw what was happening in this war. My name is John Ryan. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. And it was there in the pueblos and hillside that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. And there amidst all these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We fought beneath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazoned with Herongate Tenant, bright with the harp and the shamrock, Libertad Republica. Just 50 years after Wolfe Tone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may. But from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. Churubusco was the last. Overwhelmed by the cannons from Boston, we fell after each mortar blast. Most of us died on that hillside at the service of the Mexican state. So far from our occupied homeland, we were heroes and victims of fate. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. Thank you. This is a song I wrote 2002. Child, what will you remember when you recall your 16th year? The horrid sound of helicopter gunships, the rumble of the tanks as they grew near, as the world went about its business. And in England they were toasting to the Queen. Dow Jones lost a couple points that day while you were crying in the city of Geneva. Did they even give your parents warning before they blew the windows out with shells? While you hid inside the high school basement, it's the ringing of church bells as you watched your teacher crumple by the doorway. Dow Jones lost, and I burned another tank of gasoline. You were so far from the thoughts of so many, huddled in the city of Geneva. Were you thinking of the taunting of the soldiers, or of the shit they smeared upon the walls? Were you thinking of your cousin after torture, or Tel Aviv and its glittering shopping malls? When the fat men in their mansions say that you don't want peace, did you wonder what they mean as you sat amidst the stench inside the darkness in the shattered city of Geneva? What went through your mind on that day at the sight of your mother's vacant eyes as she lay still among the rubble beneath the blue Middle Eastern skies? As you stood upon this bulldozed building beside the settlements and their hills so green, as your tears gave way to grim determination amidst the ruins of the city of Geneva. Why should anybody wonder as you stepped on board the crowded bus across the green line and you reached inside your jacket for the cord? Were you thinking of your neighbors' buried bodies as you made the stage for this scene, as you set off the explosives that were strapped around your waist? Were you thinking of the city of Geneva? Here's I wrote children's songs about organizing.
went to play at the playground to do things I like so much. Run with my friends, play make-believe, swing on the swings and such. But this morning I went to the playground and bullies were guarding the swings. They knocked over the slide, dug out the sandbox, took away all of our things. This playground is run by bullies, and they're all so big and mean. But this playground was made for all of us, and we're gonna change this scene. Well, all of us were scared of the bullies. They were so big and we were so small. Till somebody said if we organized, we could be 10 feet tall. We stood on each other's shoulders, put blankets over our heads. We looked like monsters and we roared like lions, and those bullies ran home and hid under their beds. This playground was run by bullies, and they're all so big and mean. But this playground was made for all of us, and we're gonna change this scene. Well, we got that playground back, but then we looked across the street, saw the sewage plant belching out smoke, poisoning the ground under our feet. It's giving us all asthma, and the hour is getting late. So we marched across the way, and we blocked that factory gate. 'Cause this world is run by bullies, and they're all so big and mean. But this world was made for all of us, and we're gonna change this scene. This world is run by bullies, and they're all so big and mean. But this world was made for all of us, and we're gonna change this scene. Thank you. So my new term for my country is the failed states of America. Do you like it? It has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Working 2 jobs and living in a tent, when a house costs $1 million and you can't pay the rent, when politicians say they'll help but it keeps getting worse each time the landlord lobby pulls the strings of the purse, when the human right to housing isn't even part of the debate, you know you're living in a failed state. Citizens are spending half their lives locked up in a prison for trying to survive, when laws must be broken just to have a place to stay, when the prisons pay the senators to look the other way. If you have to be a criminal to put food upon your plate, you know you're living in a failed state. When you're facing climate breakdown, when the trees are all on fire, when half the country's underwater, when a climate change denier runs the nation, and the opposition opposition party votes for oil rigs and pipelines. This is not so much a country as it is a corporation. Buckling under its weight, you know you're living in a failed state. When your nation is an empire facing daily blowback, and the only thing your leaders can think to do is attack. Bipartisan consensus that we need to spend $700 billion before the year's end on a military budget to make America great. You know you're living in a failed state. Every day some psycho with a gun has to open fire on a crowd before it's done. When a music festival becomes a free fire zone, and all I can say is it's okay now, he was acting alone. Buy some armor, pray to God, and hide behind a gate. You know you're living in a failed state. You know you're living in a failed state. You know you're living in a failed state. Let's see. Do this. Do another song about the land of the free and the home of the brave. She left late at night, out of sight of the gangs, the most violent place in the West. Just the clothes on her back to escape the attack, with one child held to her breast. For weeks they would go through Mexico, where Rosita and so many others would learn too late that the United States takes babies away from their mothers. When Rosita was younger, the future looked brighter, but then came 2009. A junta, a coup, and the prospects were few as the bodies were stacked up in lines. She tried to stay, but there was no way when they kidnapped and tortured her brother. So she got to the border where they're following orders to take babies away from their mothers. She might stay in Monterey, but the gunmen were always so near. She knew she had to push on, make it to Houston, where she might live a life without fear. Their journey was done. Rosita, her son, at the border, they held one another. Oh, how he wailed as they took her to jail, tore him from the arms of his mother. She left late at night, out of sight of the gangs, the most violent place in the West. Just the clothes on her back to escape the attack, with one child held to her breast. I'll do a couple more, and this is a song about the grandmother of a friend of mine. No, I'll do this one. This is more fun. That's too depressing. Here, we'll do this. The first time the red flag was ever flown as a symbol of revolution was in 1831 in the town of Merthyr Tydfil in Wales. The rebellion was put down by Scottish troops. In case you wondered how colonialism works, that's how it works in a nutshell. 1831, the age of industry begun. For the working folk of Wales, life was short, with wages cut again. It was only sensible that then folks took over, shut down the debtors' court. The gentry pulled the wire, told their men to open fire and restore the rule of their estate. But as the night descended, as the battle ended, the soldiers had all fled behind a gate. They chanted cheese and bread, and our children must be fed in the days when Wales rose against the crown. They chanted cheese and bread with a bloody loaf above their heads when the red flag flew in Merthyr Town. The message went out east and west to put the gentry to the test. The cavalry was ambushed and turned back. After so long playing defense, the time had come now when the workers were the ones on the attack. They chanted cheese and bread, and our children must be fed in the days when Wales rose against the crown. They chanted cheese and bread with a bloody loaf above their heads when the red flag flew in Merthyr Town. Sent soldiers by the score till order was restored. Then came Dick Penderyn's execution, another martyr for the cause, meant to give us pause the next time people call for revolution. They chanted cheese and bread, and our children must be fed in the days when Wales rose against the crown. They chanted cheese and bread with a bloody loaf above their heads when the red flag flew in Merthyr Town. We shall close with a poem written in 1871, but this is the musical version of it, translated into English. This goes out to the Rosa Luxembourg Club, and thanks so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be back in Ottawa. And where'd that song go? Oh yeah, see, I should know it by heart. I'm proof that I'm a crap communist. Okay. This is the Alistair Hewlett's Scottish version of the song, which has which is a bit jumpy compared to the original, sort of more symphonic Russian version. Not that you needed to know that. Arise, ye workers, from your slumbers. Arise, ye prisoners of want. For reasons in revolt now thunders, and at last ends the age of cant. Away with all your superstitions, servile masses. Arise, arise. We'll change henceforth the old traditions, burn the dust to win the prize. Also, comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. Also, comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. No more deluded by reaction, on tyrants only will make war. The soldiers too will take strike action, they'll break ranks, they'll fight no more. And if these cannibals keep trying to sacrifice us to their pride, they soon shall hear the bullets flying. We'll shoot the generals on our own side. Also, comrades, come rally, the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race.
Also, comrades, come rally, and a last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. No savior from on high delivers, no faith have we in prince or peer. Our own right hand of change must shiver chains of hatred, greed, and fear. For the thieves will out with their booty and give you all a happier lot. Each at a forge must do their duty and strike when the iron is hot. Also, comrades, come rally, and a last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. Also, comrades, come rally, and a last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race.
Merci beaucoup.